Hello, everyone, and welcome to UGASports Rumors versus Facts. I am Blaine Gilmer, your host here once again with my co-host Jed May, and we'll be joined by Trent Smallwood sooner rather than later. But Jed, man, it is jam-packed. I know you've been helping go through all the rankings process this week, and we have a major recruiting official visit weekend. Georgia's already been hosting camps. There's a lot going on right now in the world of recruiting. You're muted, Jed.
Hey, there we are. There we are. I'm back. I was going to say everyone's been looking forward to official visits this weekend, but there's been some big-time talent on campus already this week with camps. And, you know, a guy like King Joseph Edwards didn't even camp today, just showed up on campus for a visit. So it's June 1st. It's, Blaine, it's the anniversary of us starting this gig.
Hey.
And just like last year, June 1st means it's the kickoff of a big summer and a big month.
I started off with a bang. You know, first day I came in here and said, hey, Eric Gilbert's coming to Georgia. It happened, and then everything's been downhill since. So sorry for everybody that raised the expectations so high early. But no, I'm just playing. It's been a fun year to be a part of UGASports, especially everything that's gone on. Got to go and see some really cool things, of course, national championship and all that stuff. But the grind, it never stops, and we're covering Georgia football recruiting once again. Guys, failed to mention, you know, sometimes we're up over 27,000 subs on YouTube, the biggest Georgia YouTube channel out there, Georgia football YouTube channel out there. We also cover the other sports as well. Dash does a great job of that. Baseball's got a regional this weekend. So stay tuned to everything here on the YouTube channel. Make sure to hit subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And we really appreciate it. Also, we've got the audio platform. You can search UGA Sports on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to it, and you'll be able to hear all these podcasts in audio form later, riding down the road, whatever. So, Jed, it is the weekend that everybody is looking forward to. You know, for quite some time. Arch Manning's coming to town. Justice Haynes is coming to town. Those are two. Probably if you were doing putting a marquee up, those guys would have top billing, maybe along with TJ Shanahan as well. So just some massive names. But before we get to all that, just kind of you can share a little bit about some of the guys you've talked to this week that have been there for the camp, you know, and to work out for coaches and unofficials before we get to the official visit, guys.
Yeah, a guy that I'm interested in is Charlie Simons. He's a 23 off, believe, Connecticut, somewhere up in yonder direction. You know, it's just interesting when you see a 23 guy come that far to camp. So that's a name to keep an eye on. And then 24 guys, there's Miles Graham out of Woodward Academy. Looks great on film as an inside linebacker. Micah Welch, running back that Georgia's after in that 24 class. He's a Rivals 250 guy. Connor Liu was on campus today.
2023.
Told me, obviously, he's got Georgia in his top 4 taking official. And he told me, look, I'm close enough to Athens. I might as well get a chance to experience Stacey Searles' coaching style in a camp type environment, because that's obviously he won't be able to do that on an official visit. So, yeah, like I said earlier, just because we're not on it's not official visit season yet, or not till tomorrow anyway, doesn't mean that there has been some talented guys on campus already in the early part of June here.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned King Joseph Edwards. There's also other talented Buford players there with KJ Bolden being there today. Also, Edric Houston was there. So 3 really talented Buford guys. And, you know, it just so happens Justice Haynes has already announced that he's going to be transferring to Buford. So he'll be on his official visit this weekend. So Buford Wolves very prominently represented this weekend for these unofficial and official visits. You know, also some guys, Jalen Crawford, guy from Parkview that Georgia's really interested in the 2024 class. Saw him at the Atlanta camp. You know, really athletic kid. Has picked up a ton of offers, different SEC schools. Georgia's very interested in him. He was there. Also, there's some kids from Grayson, from Collins Hill that are in the 25 and 26 class. So it's going deep in classes here, Jed, that we'll touch on. So make sure you're a member of the UGA Sports Vault of UGAsports.com, so you can get all those breakdowns and things like that. Start to know these guys a couple years out, because it just seemed like yesterday that Justice Haynes and Archman and all those guys were so far away from making decisions, and now here it is. It's right upon us. With those guys taking their official visits. So I know that there's so many, Jed, that we've got to touch on here. The 12 guys, that we put up, and here's on the graphic I had, Pearce Spurlin, you can see him there. You can see Jalen Hale, Caleb Downs, Chris Peal down there at the bottom left behind Archman, and Raylen Wilson. CJ Allen's going to be there. Gabriel Harris is going to be there. Maybe even some a name or two that won't be mentioned right now, but could just show up in Athens. You never know. There's always a trick or two up the sleeve. And sometimes these visits, even officials, don't become public till last minute. So we'll see what happens on that end. But I think specifically, Jed, Pearce Spurlin and Raymond Cottrell and Lawson Luckie all being committed and coming back to do official visits, this weekend was such prominent targets there. I think that has to be a really good indicator of just how good Georgia feels about this weekend and what they're trying to do to pitch to those guys.
Right, and especially with Pearce and Cottrell, because they have been two of the most vocal recruiters of this class on social media. Pearce, I want to say Pearce is the longest tenured guy in this 23 class. Obviously grew up a huge Georgia fan and all that kind of stuff. So what better recruiter could you have in a recruiting class than a guy that grew up a Georgia fan in Metro Atlanta and has been in this class a long time? And you don't think Pearce Spurlin's going to be saying, "Hey, you saw what Stetson and Brock Bowers did last year? That could be us." And same with Raymond Cottrell talking to Arch. Hey, this could be us for the next few years. So yeah, when you bring in guys like that for a weekend like this, and Gabriel Harris, hey, Caleb Downs, like you want to be the guy that brings in all these passes that a quarterback's throwing after bringing them down to the backfield. So all those guys like that are going to be huge this weekend and might lock up some guys like, CJ Allen's a guy we thought Georgia's led for a long time. Justice Haynes, despite some from Florida flirtations, is a guy Georgia we think has led for a long time. So guys like that, it's going to be huge, both to get in the race with some guys and also maybe lock down some commitments from guys as well.
Yeah, and we're going to get into questions that people on the Vault have. We're also going to touch on some of these YouTube questions that I'm seeing come into play here. Jeff Hightoff says, why is TJ Shanahan ranked top 10 by rivals, but outside the top 100 by other services? Don't usually see a difference at large. I don't know. Maybe they're not watching film. Maybe he's not answering their phone calls and they're salty about it. I don't know. But anybody who could look at TJ Shanahan, I don't know, and not think that he's, top 10, who knows? Maybe that's debatable depending on position, but a top, 15, 20 player in the country in the class of 2023. We've seen him in person, in some of those camp settings. You see his film. Jed, I think he's just a complete package, and Georgia's, recruiting him as such.
Yeah, and I want to say he won MVP at the 5-star challenge last year as a
junior.
Right? Yeah. And same with Justice Haynes. That's what he did. So, and it wasn't, we're going to have the Rivals Underclassmen Challenge in a couple weeks, which, as the name suggests, is underclassmen. No, there was 2022 guys there. There was, I don't remember.
Michael Williams.
Yeah. There was dudes at that camp, and TJ Shanahan won MVP overall, which is the first time he really got on my radar, obviously, as a guy from out in Texas. So, he's a stud. That's all.
Yeah, I think I was sold on TJ Shanahan when I saw the size that he has, ability to play guard, the ability to play tackle, and when he went up reps against Christian Miller, when he get reps against Michael Williams, both guys who I think could actually play this year for Georgia. I think they could play and contribute mightily this year. And TJ Shanahan, more than held his own. He dominated those reps. So I think that TJ Shanahan is a guy that is deservedly ranked. I mean, I think he, definitely deserves to be up that high. And TJ called me out of nowhere this Tuesday, just calling and saying how excited he was for this Georgia official visit. That Pearce Spurlin has been talking to him a lot lately. That he made a connection with Justice Haynes on their G-Day visit together, and they've been kind of chatting it up, talking ahead of time about what this official visit weekend to Athens is going to be like. And he said that he and Arch Manning as well have talked several times about their college destinations and things of that nature. So it's going to be interesting to see all of those talented guys there together. I mean, the ones that I kind of feel sorry for, Jed, are some of the recruiting staffers, because man, they're going to be spread thin this weekend. There's a lot of high profile guys to take care of, so to speak, on this official visit weekend. Raymond Cottrell coming into town, like I said, a Georgia Bulldog commit. So it's going to be interesting. I wish we could have like a GoPro view of one of the recruiting staffers, just to see how much is going on and what all is takes place behind the scenes, because it's going to be a lot of foot traffic, a lot of going different places this weekend.
Guys, a step counter, or how many miles you walk over the course of 48 hours or whatever from Friday night to Sunday afternoon, because it's going to be. And when you think of all the who knows honestly what activities are. I know Sunday morning is usually like this, like Sunday morning. Okay, you bring guys in on officials. Usually there's breakfast at Kirby Smart's house. How much money? I mean, not that Kirby Smart's short on money, but how much money are you going to drop to feed these big dudes Sunday morning for breakfast at Kirby's house if that's what they choose to do? So, no telling what activities are going on, but I'm sure with the guys on this list and with it being the first weekend, having plenty of time to think about it, it's going to be well thought out and well organized by this Georgia staff, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know for a fact that there have been strategy meetings that have been taking place, that there's presentations that have been put together, all this
Not
kind
about
of stuff.
A game, about recruiting. How about official?
What now?
I said not about.
Oh yeah,
It's about the recruiting.
Not a game. We're talking about practice, no, man. But these official visits. I mean, literally staff meetings. Planning for different presentations, guys, because we heard last year during this weekend about how they took Branson Robinson and Oscar Delp, and Oscar Delp was telling us about all the presentations that Monken and Hartley gave to them. And not only was it them, there was some prominent underclassmen there as well. I think Justice Haynes, it might have even been involved, and KJ Bolden in some of those meetings back then. So I mean, there's no detail that goes, undiscussed before this weekend enters. So everything's going to be well planned out. I think one of the more intriguing ones and you were kind of talking with some people on the vault about this today, Jed, was Raylen Wilson. And, I'm going to go ahead and put that question up here. From the vault. Pine Tree, he got right to it. Pine Tree said, "We flipping Raylen Wilson." Like he's not playing it around. He just wants to know. Jed, I would tend to think with all the success that Georgia has had at linebacker, and if you follow, as Coach Donnan told me a long time ago, follow the visits. Well, he keeps showing up in Athens, and now he's here for an official visit, even though he's been a long-time Michigan commit. What's kind of the pulse of this recruitment right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to think that a kid that's committed to another school, that Georgia still might be the favorite, but I think Georgia might be, because like you said, follow the visits. Schumann visited his school in Tallahassee in January, I guess. He came up for a weekend in March. I believe it was the big weekend, the March 19th weekend. And now he's back for an official the first weekend in June. And I don't know, it's like you said, how can any, not just Michigan, any school hold a candle to what Glenn Schumann has done with the inside linebacker position in Georgia, especially with what he did this year? So that might be yeah, the visit I guess I'm most interested in because Arch Manning's not going to commit this weekend. I mean, that's wishful thinking. Justice Haynes probably won't commit this weekend. But Raylen Wilson is the one that I'm really interested in just to see does he because last time Georgia hosted a commit, it was Justin Rhett who decommitted from Notre Dame during G Day and then joined Georgia's class about a week later. So I'm very interested to see if Georgia convinces him to at least decommit, if not flip straight away, with a huge official this weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see Raylen Wilson just totally, rip the Band-Aid off one fell swoop, say I'm no longer a Michigan guy. I mean, like I said, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. All you got to do is put on the replay of the Orange Bowl like on loop, and do it, walk around and be like, yeah, maybe I made the wrong decision here. So, we'll see what happens with Mr. Wilson yesterday. Freddie S. a great interview with Sam Mpemba. Yeah, we talked to Sam Mpemba earlier this week. That's a good point. I'll put it out on the podcast feed. Hadn't done that yet, but check that out if you hadn't, guys. We had a prospect profile with Samuel Mpemba. He sat down, 5-star. He's going to be coming back June 22nd. So that's a big unofficial visit. Georgia getting him back on campus with likely an official visit happening during the season, during the fall. So that is a big one. Nathaniel Holtzy says Arch is going where Georgia. I don't know what he said there. I think he's saying he's going to Georgia, but we'll see. We'll see.
Who's Arch? Arch.
Yeah. Who is Arch? Who is this Arch you speak of? Rhett Womack.
One thing about Mpemba, like June 22nd, that's a Wednesday. So in the middle of the week, you would think he would get official visit levels of individual attention in the middle of the week, right? I mean, wouldn't you think that with the guy of his caliber on campus in the middle of the week, they would go all out and again treat it like an official, even though it's an unofficial. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch too.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's basically what happened with Justice Haynes back with the Florida situation a few weeks ago. Katie Turner was at Georgia. She knows how things go with the University of Georgia and how they typically do things on official visits. Well, guess what? She's at Florida now, and they basically did everything that Georgia typically would do on an official visit and, knocked Justice and his family's socks off. So that's kind of what happened there. But I wouldn't be shocked if you're right. If they do kind of Georgia takes a page out of that playbook and does the same thing with kind of Mpemba right there. And that's a kind of a good segue into Jar 52's question, Jed.
Yeah, who out of Jaden Wayne, Clay Rusaw, Nicholas Harbor, and Samuel Mpemba do you think Georgia lands?
I know that there's some people, and Nicholas Harbor is like a strange enigma. Jed is what I would call as Jim Ross refers to Jeff Hardy. I would refer the same to Nicholas Harbor, the strange enigma, because you don't know what this guy's going to do. Okay. You don't know if he's going to run track as a professional athlete. You don't know what he's planning on doing. I know that Georgia, if he does run track in college and doesn't go pro running track, which I know some people in his camp want him to do, and he probably could do, honestly, as fast as he is, then, I see Georgia being a strong person, contender there with him wanting to do both in college. But I think the two, honestly, that Georgia has the best shot at right now are Rusaw and Mpemba. I just think that Quay Rusaw is a phenomenal talent. The man is strong as an ox. I mean, he's power cleaning, in the upper 300s. He's squatting over 600 pounds. He's bench pressing, upwards, 300 something pounds. I mean, it's ridiculous how strong. He's just naturally strong. So I think Quay Rusaw is one. And Jed, you just talked about it with Mpemba. Coming back, I feel like him and Chidera Uzo-Duribe have kind of built a strong rapport there.
Yeah, if we're ranking the likelihood of guys on this list, I'd put Rusaw 1, Harbor 4. I mean, yeah, Mpemba is probably a little more likely than Wayne. I mean, I think both, the thing about Wayne is, unless he comes back for an unofficial, like the Hayes at the barn there, because obviously he just came to Georgia on its official. Whereas at Pimba, he's got an unofficial coming up, and he's got a probable official later in the fall. So, yeah, I'd probably put like in Pimba 2 and Wayne 3, like at this second. As speaking of number 3, Trent's in the house now.
Stop talking about him. Stop talking about him.
Trent spending time with his family or something else that's not important.
Yeah, so. I mean priorities, Trent. What the?
Dude, I had to drive all the way home from Sardis.
Hey, you should get an award just for going to Sardis.
Were you eating dinner with Arch and filming his commitment video for his official starts tomorrow? Is that where you were?
You're not supposed to say that live.
Sorry.
We're live, pal. Man, a lot of Jim Ross references coming out of me tonight. The man in the black hat. I'm loving what he's doing over there, AEW stuff. But we won't get lost on professional wrestling because I could take us down a total rabbit trail of professional wrestling. If you love professional wrestling, you need to comment in the YouTube comments. I will get it on the screen. If you have a random professional wrestling comment, throw it in there. I will make sure it gets on the scrin for you.
So what exactly is professional wrestling? I mean, are we talking Stinger?
Yeah, we're talking about WCW back in the day. We're talking about WWE. I don't know about WWE now. That's kind of
too sweet
like it now, but yeah, don't like that. Too sweet. NWO for sure. Hey, I was gonna do a piece like comparing Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M to like the NWO. I think that would be a great piece over there because they're just going to cheat their way to the top. That type deal.
Start losing kids to the Wolfpack. You better watch out.
Yeah, that's it. So now, but we got a lot of questions here. We're rolling through. We just talked about Samuel and Pimba, Trent, and we're continuing right through the line. Of course, got Arch Manning and all those guys coming into play. But the boy racer here, Jed, has a question for us.
How many of the official visitors this weekend do you think eventually end up in the class? I'm going to guess at least 10 of the 12.
That's strong.
Wow. You talking about I know we say all the time that Georgia has really, really strong on-campus recruiting, but if 10 of these 12 guys that we know for sure are coming and maybe a 13th that we don't know if he's going to show up or not, if 10 of those guys commit, man, you're talking about I don't see how Georgia couldn't end up with the number 1 class at that point, Trent.
Well, I guess you're talking about 6 out of the 8 because you got 4 already committed, I think.
Harris, Spurlin, Luckie.
I mean, looking at the list, I mean 6 out of 8 is kind of realistic. I mean, yeah, I would say like Caleb Downs, Justice Haynes, Chris Peal,
Well, you got guys that are already committed there, so that are going to be there. So let's count the ones that are already committed. Jed, you can be our official counter. Hold your fingers up when I say this. All right, so not all your fingers. Pearce Spurlin's 1. All right, Lawson Luckie is 2. Gabriel Harris is 3. Raymond Cottrell is 4. So I think those are the ones that are already committed there. The ones that we feel maybe Georgia has a really good shot with or leads with right now, Justice Haynes, Chris Peal. It puts you at 6. CJ Allen, feel pretty good about CJ Allen. I know Oklahoma and USC and some other schools, Tennessee, doing a really good job there, but that would be 7. Who else do we have that's coming on official?
It's going to come down to your Arch Manning and Caleb Downs and
yeah. So now you're looking at those guys, right? I mean,
not Braylon James. Jalen Hale would be one that kind of swings it too.
Jalen Hale. So it comes down. Your over under the boy racer comes down to how does Georgia do with Arch Manning?
I really think it's Arch Manning and Caleb Downs. I mean, those are two key targets that Georgia's focused on that could turn that one way or the other. Hey, Jeremy Barbari says used to like Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio matches. Absolutely, gotta love the cruiserweights in WCW. This is gonna be a running thing. Go all the way back to Ricky Rudd.
Hey, man, you must be a little bit older than I am. I don't even know Ricky Rudd. Don't tread on me. He says WCW and Georgia Championship are really legit guys. It's WWE stuff, and Hulk Hogan is total Hollywood fabrication. I love it. More pro wrestling talk in the chat. Go ahead and put it in there. But no, I think you're exactly right, Jed. It kind of swings on. Okay, does Arch come? Does Jalen Hale come? Could they pull? Could they pull TJ Shanahan out of Texas? Which, by the way, people need to know he is not originally from Texas. He moved out to Texas. He's from the Orlando area. Hey, Rick Rude. There you go.
Rick Rude. That's what I meant.
Ravishing Rick Rude. You said Rick Rudd. Oh my God.
Hey.
This tarnishing the good name of Rick Rude.
This guy is a classic.
Hey, that's it. Him and Bobby the Brain Heenan there. I'm loving this show already. It's good stuff. So, yeah, I think when it comes to that, I can see strong maybe 8 out of the 12, possibly 13, depending on if anybody else shows up. But we'll just see. What's up, dog? Jed has another one for us.
How many 5-star rated players? Man, I've had too many rankings questions today already. We'll end up in our 2023 class, number on offense and number on defense.
This is for you, Jed.
Yeah, Mr. National.
Question can only be to you.
Yeah, since I've had about 10 hours of rankings meetings the past 2 days. Let's see. Okay, so 5-star players. Let's see. Hakeem Williams is probably going to be a 5-star, although I don't think he's coming to Georgia anymore. Arch is obviously a 5-star. So we can say that's 1.
Whoa, are you calling Arch?
Whoa. Whoa.
National analyst predicts Arch Manning to Georgia.
Tweet it. National analyst Jed May.
Okay, so that's because I don't think Justice is going to get a 5th star. I don't think Pearce or Cottrell is going to get a 5th star.
Why is that, Jed?
I don't know, dude. My opinion's way down the totem pole in these meetings. So.
Tight ends getting the shaft.
Tight ends are a dying position, I hear.
Hey,
I don't
Georgia.
I mean, TJ Shanahan has a 5th star, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think your possible ones with 5 stars right now that are likely to end up 5 stars by the time it's all said and done, Arch and Shanahan. So your question is, do you get one or both of those, or either one of them? So I'm going to say that's your 2 possibles on offense, and then on defense. I mean,
Caleb Downs should have a 5th star, man. I tried.
He could. Caleb Downs could end up being a 5-star before it's over with. I think the most that you're going to see, the most that you could possibly see is 4, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. But I don't. I think more realistically, it's going to be in the 2 to 3 number in terms of 5 stars in this class.
Now, if you really want to go nuclear, do you think there's? I mean, I don't know that this necessarily happened, but I guess it's not impossible, right? Where Georgia could get Downs, Wayne, and Impemba, and you'd have 2 5-star edges and a 5-star safety.
Well, I'm counting Wayne and Impemba as possible ones, in there, and then maybe somebody else bumps up from the 4-star class below them in there, but I'm not. Keon Keeley is a guy that's committed to Notre Dame that Chidera Uzo-Duribe is really recruiting hard. Nichols Harbor, they're in it with him. So they've got, 4 guys that they could try.
I mean, it's not impossible for Gabriel Harris to get fringe 5-star. I don't think so, but
I'll say 4 to 5 before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
4 to 5? I'm going to say more 2 to 3. I'm a little more conservative. I like Foghorn says, "Get funky like a monkey." He's talking about Dusty Roads. I like it.
You over there taking the Mark Rick approach. I see you.
Yeah, a little conservative on it right there. All right.
On the ball.
Pine Tree says, ever heard of this Arch Manning guy? Yeah, he's a pretty prominent dude. He's in demand. I know one thing. I did a interview for the Players Lounge with Raylen Godey, current tight end at Georgia, and there's a little buzz around Athens with Arch coming in, not just from fans of the team and stuff like that, but guys currently on the team as well. I mean, it's a happening when this goes down. So I think that the times that are going to be enjoyed in Athens this weekend by all will be stuff that I'm sure it will all hear the stories about one day when it 20 years down the line when he decides that he can talk to the media like Eli and Peyton have decided now.
He has his own Manning cast.
He is going to enjoy the college life this weekend, I can assure you.
No doubt. It is going to. If we could write a book, I wish somebody could write a book, a tell-all book on the recruitments of Jacob Eason, of Trevor Lawrence, of all. Patrick. Hey, Patrick needs to. Patrick Garvin, there's your next book. You need to get some truth there.
Matthew Stafford and Jacob Eason. I need a full-on book of what happened when they were in Athens.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence too, because I feel like there was a story there that it didn't end up in Georgia's favor, but it wasn't because Trevor didn't have a good time in Athens. I'll tell you that much. Scuffletown Dawgs says, could UGA land the number 1 class, and who will really help us, Georgia, to get there? We have an above average chance of getting. Yeah, I think that Arch. Listen, all the talk out there is that, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, there's smoke about Texas, all this kind of stuff. Of course, I think it's Georgia and Texas locked in a head-to-head battle right now. But all the more that makes me think, like, I've literally tried to analyze this from every way possible to say, oh, well, here's why you would go to Texas over Georgia. And I cannot think of a reason unless you have just so much faith in Steve Sarkisian that he's going to turn around what is currently a dumpster fire of a program, and the culture is really bad, and he's adding more problem people to it with the transfer portal, guys that he knows are a locker room problem because he coached them when he was at Alabama, and yet he's still bringing them onto the roster. So I just don't see how it's a fit. I mean, Trent, what are your thoughts on it?
I think everybody knows my thoughts. I think everybody knows that I think Georgia sits in a good spot for Arch. I think it is a Georgia-Texas battle. And, I've long thought that Georgia had, some relationships in its favor, the college life in its favor. I think they have a lot of stuff working in its favor. And not to mention that the program offers stability from a coaching standpoint. Will Munkin be there? And maybe not his whole career, but you got Buster Faulkner right behind him, who he's very close with. You also got Matt Luke roaming around Athens. I saw him a couple weeks ago with Kirby out at the baseball field. Their sons play baseball together. So, Luke's still around. The relationship's there. I just think from relationship, stability, everything the arrows just point to Georgia's favor. You look at Texas side, what he did at when he was the offense coordinator at Alabama, what he did with the quarterbacks over there. Yes, it's impressive. But you got a program coming off a national championship. You got a program that didn't get anybody drafted at all. It's just kind of all the tea leaves point to Georgia, and I like where Georgia stands just from talking to people behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, I think so too. And to answer Scuffletown Dawgs questions, I mean, the guys that I think, we mentioned them before, those kind of swing guys that we feel really good, that Georgia has a really good chance to get, and then those guys would put Georgia over the top, would be Arch, would be Justice Haynes, would be Jalen Hale. Those are the 3 top guys that you're looking at. But I think there's some glue guys in this class that you could see, commit like a Chris Peal, maybe, that there's a reason that Fran Brown and Chidera Uzo-Deribe were brought on staff, Jed. I mean, these guys have connections in different parts of the country than maybe some of the current coaches on staff do, and they're young, driven coaches that are really good at making connections, and they're doing so with guys that maybe aren't the highest ranked in the world, but they're the coaches see a lot of potential in them.
Yeah, and I think a perfect example from Uzo Duribe standpoint is Adepoju Adebawore out of Kansas City. Like Uzo Duribe offered him right after he took the job. He's taking an official. I believe it's next weekend. And it's Georgia, Oklahoma, Northwestern, and I think Iowa, which is a really random grouping of schools. His brother plays at Northwestern. But I mean, that's a guy who he's really raw. He has huge upside. So say Georgia kills it with an official visit. He either commits this summer, later this year, whatever, and he has a good year this fall and shoots up the rankings later. That's another guy who could end up, say, in the top 100 or top 50 or whatever. That really boosts your points or whatever. However, my friends on the national side do that kind of stuff that no one's really thinking about right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and like you said, that senior tape is not only important for coaches. A lot of times, it's important for the evaluation process and all that kind of stuff, the final rankings, all of that. So, Jed will be, in 20 years, he'll be giving us his tell-all book of the behind the scenes of the Rivals ranking system when Arch Manning was coming through and all those guys. So,
notes today.
That's when Arch Jr. will be coming through.
Yeah, Arch Jr., Archie Manning the third, coming through there. So no, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out in terms of the rankings and the number one class and all that. Alabama's going to have something to say about it. That Notre Dame's recruiting well right now. You've got Texas A&M, of course, it's always going to be involved. Ohio State, so. Lots of teams that can end up before. Yeah, well, so we'll see. They started out pretty hot in 2022. We'll see. All right, Ryan Dawgs says, if Arch commits to get guys this term, do we land the number one class? We already kind of talked on that, so let's skip to the next one. B Hodge 0702. Who is your biggest want? I guess he's saying Georgia's in the class of 2023 that we have a legit shot with outside of Arch. I don't think it really matters to us. We're just analyzing the recruiting. But B Hodge, when it comes down to it, I would say if I was on the Georgia staff and there were guys that I was trying to get into this class, like desperately wanting to get into this class, I'll give mine first. I think it's either Caleb Downs or Jalen Hale. I think it's got to be one of those two, because I think Jalen Hale and Hakeem Williams were the two type receivers that I don't think Georgia has anything kind of currently like on the roster. Those two guys are kind of really different. And I think at receiver, you need a big time receiver, or they're losing a lot on the back end at safety. I think you pair two guys like Caleb Downs and Malachi Starks in that secondary together, going together in the future for a few seasons, that could be deadly. Trent, Jed, what are y'all's thoughts?
I'm gonna say Madden Sinker, just because I like the way he talks crap and backs it up.
You like the trash talk at the
I mean, that joker stood in there and said him and who was that other two that was in there?
Marquez and Braden Joyner.
McElderry and Auburn commit.
Braden Joyner.
Those three right there were talking it and backing it up. And I mean, especially Sinker. He's like a friggin' anchor that he gets his hands on. You're going down.
Look here. This is the promo. Chuck Ward has just put the promo on the screen that Todd Monken is going to say if he lands Arch Manning. Man, this is good stuff. Like you'd have no idea the joy that I'm getting out of reading these comments right now. Space Mountain, the oldest ride in the park, but still has the longest line. Woo! Yeah, for sure. Todd Monken be pulling something like that out if he lands Arch Manning. That'd be good stuff. In fact, that is good homework here and something to put in. Put in your favorite wrestling promo that you think Kirby or somebody would say in a recruiting pitch. That would be. And if you submit a video to us and use @UGASports.com on Twitter, we may have talked Roddy into giving a giveaway for the best recruiting recruiting pitch in a pro wrestling promo form. You do it with UGASports.com. we're going to get some kind of UGASports swag to you. That's some good stuff right there. So appreciate that, guys. We've kind of went all through a bunch of the questions. I mean, guys, cliff notes. If you have any actual questions on YouTube, we can talk about that as well. You can put them in there. But no, we appreciate everybody tuning in each week. We appreciate everybody putting the questions in the UGASports vault. I guess Trent, just you kind of joined us a little bit later. Just give your thoughts going into this weekend. What you think with Georgia hosting so many guys, you got some committed guys, a good mix. Kind of what are your thoughts? What have you been hearing going into this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's that they have accomplished what they were trying to accomplish with getting the core guys around them with their 4 commits, bringing their 4 commits in to do a little recruiting. It seems like almost like an official visit weekend that you normally see in December. Like around that December 12th mark where they're trying to close deals, but they're opening up this time with those 4 commits and bringing guys in to try to recruit these guys. It's not having a game is important because the coaching staff gets to spend a lot of one-on-one times with these players and these families. I'm just looking forward to the weekend. What with the atmosphere with Arch there, it's going to be rowdy around there. I guess rowdy and bowdy.
K-Dog
with Arch there and his family, and he's going to get the red carpet but bringing in these other guys, Jalen Hill and all these guys around him, Raylen Wilson. This is going to be just a jam-packed weekend but it's split. All these coaches are going to be able to these position coaches have been spending a lot of time, and I'm interested to start seeing the Instagrams just to see what exactly is taking place. Are they going to try on them new white helmets? They got them on campus. See what's
a lot of talk about the white uniforms and about the Arch throne. Some people are saying, hey, is that a subliminal message? Was the Arch throne made specifically for Arch Manning?
Trent worked really hard making that thing, so I hope it gets using some good pictures this week.
I've been building that thing all night, so I just went and set it up under the arch in Athens. So I'm just trying.
They just picked it up. They said, "This looks cool. We'll just take this."
You can't pick it up. You gotta. We had to take it with a trailer.
No, I hear you. Well, Jed, I mean, I guess before we sign off here and everything, just kind of tell everybody some notes, some things coming up. What are you kind of looking at and kind of the keys going into this weekend?
All right, one, I got to answer our guy Jeff Hightoff over here. Hakeem Williams, it seems like Texas A&M has really surged. I do what?
Just messing with you. It's a long time to go for guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's taking an official. It's not a done deal by any means. I just don't think it seemed a couple months ago. And I mean, it's not like he was a silent commit and then bailed or anything. I just think Texas A&M has really gotten up there. He's taking an official. I believe his official's in 2 weeks. So that'll be a chance.
Texas A&M is kind of that pretty guy sitting on the throne right now, coming off number 1 class, and then you also got like Florida getting a new coach. But once the season rolls around, a lot of momentum shifts because of the way on-field play. So, I mean, Florida could seriously be sitting there at like 1-4. So.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing. In the world of NIL, I don't think that you can, even if you hear whispers of somebody being silently committed or something like that, I don't think you can. You have to take that at face value. I mean, you can't put much stock in it because literally, we know that inducements happening with different schools and things like that. I mean, it's been well publicized with Saban and Jimbo's battle back and forth, and hey, it's going to happen. And guys can get basically the schools can get the rug pulled out from under them, so to speak, last minute on stuff. So I think until somebody signs on the dotted line, as we saw in some different recruitments over the last couple of years. I mean, just think about Jermaine Burton a few years ago. Nobody thought until signing day that he was going to go to, Georgia. He was looking more like LSU. They get him on signing day. Then you look at Luther Burden this last year, for all the world, Georgia was, the school. They even had Georgia gear on. His family did, going into the Boys and Girls Club, had all that kind of stuff going on, and then come out, pull the old
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, Travis Hunter, FSU bound totally, and then goes to Jackson State. So we're in the world of until they sign on the dotted line, you never know. So that's why it's important to be subscribed to UGASports.com, to be involved on the vault. I mean, we got some guys on the vault saying that they played golf with, top 50 recruits, parents that say Arch Manning's doing this and that. I mean, there's connections everywhere. So if you love kind of the scuttlebutt on recruiting, so to speak, in a community of people that love to follow it, you need to be part of UGA Sports for sure. I think, guys, for me, the biggest keys here are going to be that leadership that Pearce Spurlin kind of provides in this class, and Raymond Cottrell, Lawson, Luckie, Gabriel Harris, but specifically Lawson, Luckie, and Pearce Spurlin, because Pearce Spurlin, as you said, Jed, he grew up a Georgia Bulldog fan. I mean, since literally, birth. I mean, he was a big time Georgia Bulldog, and then Lawson Luckie as well, with his dad, Mike Luckie, having played at Georgia. So it's just a little bit different when you got guys that have grown up with kind of that love for Georgia, much like Kirby Smart and Will Muschamp had as being, Mike Bobo, who's on staff now, that they all have from playing there. That I think that is going to be something that the other guys will be able to kind of feel when they're talking to them and they're on these visits and things like that. So, I know Pearce has been talking a lot to TJ Shanahan, and TJ Shanahan said that he had a lot of great things to say when he called me earlier this week on talking about the visit. Justice Haynes, with his dad having played at Georgia, there's got to be an excitement for their family going through this experience and stuff like that. So it's just going to be the stories, that kind of the storylines that go throughout it, that I'm interested to see how they play out, how they weave things in and out, and also what narrative ends up being true about Arch Manning. Is it that the Manning family hates Georgia so much, that they would never let him go to Georgia or stuff like that? Or is it the fact that they really like how, Kirby Smart does things, and how that Georgia program's ran, the development, the how they create pros, all that kind of stuff? There's two lines of thought out there that people argue tooth and nail on, Jed. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out between those two.
Yeah, I'm interested to see an actual picture of Arch Manning on someone's Instagram story. I mean, kid's like a ghost. So
yeah, except that one girl at Ole Miss that somehow got him to do a video.
Yeah, speaking of Arch Manning Jr. No, just kidding.
Okay. Easy.
Good Lord.
No, but yeah, it's
that escalated quickly.
It's it's the thing. Like,
tap. Get off air. Get off air.
It's the story.
We lost Jed's feed.
No, but like you said, Blaine, it's the stories that come out of it. Because like you've mentioned the first weekend last year of all those guys that were here, and it's 5 of 6 or whatever it was ended up in the class, plus Troy Bowles, who could end up in this class. So, yeah, it's just the stories, and it's going to be really interesting to look back on a few months and see what this weekend ended up doing for this class.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, I love these pro wrestling references, so I got to leave us here with you have to think this is what Kirby Smart, looked at his staff and said this to them before this official visit weekend. We snack on danger and dine on death as we go into this official visit. So that is a perfect way to end this episode of UGA Sports Rumors versus Fact. We appreciate the heck out of everybody in the YouTube comments. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast version, listen on audio. For Jed May and Trent Smallwood, I am Blaine Gilmer. We will catch you guys next time on UGA Sports, Rumors versus Fact. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, throw us a like. We'll catch you next time.